This issue of Burkina Faso and Capt.Ibrahim Traore has suddenly become one of the biggest political issues in the world, trending regularly on social media. My own interview with our dear friend and guest Nico House on this very subject, literally on this exact subject, is one of our biggest, most viewed clips in all the history of the mother of all talk shows. It's in the millions. Millions of people have watched it. Millions have watched what Nico House said and what I said about Captain Traore. It's even worse than you said, Amy. He didn't just accuse Capt.Ibrahim of stealing Burkina Faso's gold. He accused him of stealing Burkina Faso's gold to pay for his own protection. Well, I wonder why he would need protection. Well, one of the obvious reasons is that both France and the United States are quite clearly committed to killing him. What is it about Captain Traore that they want to kill? Well, in addition to the great strides forward that you have adumbrated, this very week, the Burkina Faso government abolished all education fees. It is now free to go to nursery, primary, secondary, and university in Burkina Faso. What's not to love about that? Traore has nationalized the building of the country's roads when he discovered that the private French companies that were hitherto building the roads were charging up to 100 times more for the building of those roads than the government of Burkina Faso itself can do. And so he's brought it in-house. There's now a public works department in Burkina Faso, in Ouagadougou, which will henceforth pave and lay roads across the whole country.
Tell us why you think there's such an uprising around the world. Blacks, Africans, all around the world seem to be cheering this guy on. I mean, they're coming out in droves for rallies in support of him, wanting the West to keep their hands off.
Hands off, yep.
Yeah, why do you think and even here in the United States, I'm seeing a lot of support with in the black churches, the pastors coming out and saying, talking about this guy and this leader and praying that the Lord protect him. I mean, why do you think there is such a rallying around him?
When you are from a community whose leadership has been executed by force, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Bunchy Carter from the Black Panthers, you cannot help but feel resonance with other Black communities who have lost leaders by deep state execution. Patrice Lumumba of the Congo. Thomas Sankara himself was executed under suspicious circumstances that fit the deep state model. And everybody in Africa knows it. And so we have all, in a collective sense, as Black folks in the diaspora, have felt the need for somebody to rise up like this again. We tried leaderless resistance. Leaderless resistance has its merits, but actually leadership encapsulated in a person with integrity and with force is something that has hit us all in a very real, deep way, because we know that we need it. So now we have somebody who's embodying this example. And that's why, regardless of where you stand in the diaspora, everybody resonates with Ibrahim. It's like, can we have somebody who's forceful enough to protect what's being built and not use that force to prey upon the people? Here in Black America, we have plenty of greedy, moocher people, who talked a good game, but didn't back it up. Didn't stand on business for the actual people they said they were serving. So Ibrahim shows up and we're like, can we get more of this, please? Thank you. And that's why people are resonating all across the world.
Yeah, it's interesting that, when I look at what's gone on in Burkina Faso and, it's like the West. So the West obviously got into the slave trade and did that until they could no longer do that. And when that was no longer okay, it was like, okay, all right, fine. We can't do slavery, but we'll figure out another way to siphon resources. We'll figure out another way to control. And we'll do it through like these multinational corporations that'll basically just come in and own everything. You know, they'll come in and siphon all the resources, own everything, and the people will essentially still be enslaved to us, but just using economic slavery rather than actual bonded in chains type slavery.
The West is trying to repeat history. They want to do what they're used to doing. But guess what? Times have changed and we're not going to allow the same thing to happen. What I want us to talk about today is about the similarities between Gaddafi and what is happening to Ibrahim Traore right now as we speak. If you remember, Gaddafi was taken out by the West, and here is a US politician admitting to it.
Libya. We were the ones that caused Gaddafi's death because Hillary Clinton played a game over there, and I was the one that went over there during the war. Gaddafi asked me to come over. I took a Biden staffer and a Bush staffer and a film crew leader from ABC One in New York, Larry Menti, with me, and a cameraman, because I didn't want the CIA to set me up. I hand carried the letter back from Gaddafi offering to resign. The U.S. didn't want him to resign. They wanted to kill him.
Why?
Because Gaddafi, and I met him 3 times. I took Biden on my second trip to Libya, by the way. He went with me when I spoke to the whole country. At every meeting I had with Gaddafi, he wanted 2 things. He wanted to unite the African continent into a group of nations economically, like like the European economy. He wanted to base it on the gold standard. And the U.S. and Europe didn't want that. And the other thing is they wanted control of his oil, and they wanted control of his sovereign wealth. So Gaddafi had to go.
As you heard Kurt Weldon admitting that Gaddafi was taken out by the US, this is not a new information for many, but I just wanted to put that out there because this man admits to being involved to what happened to Gaddafi. And what he said in that clip is that there are 2 things Gaddafi was pushing: the unity of African countries and the minerals. He wanted to use his own minerals for him and his own people, and they did not like that. They wanted to tap into that, so they removed him, right? And what did they used to say before they took him out? They used to tarnish his name. They used to say he's using Libya's resources for his personal gain. He's not a good leader. He's a dictator. They smeared his name and then came after him. Now they have begun the first step to what they did to Gaddafi, which is smear Ibrahim Traore's name, the president of Burkina Faso. They have started saying that he's using the gold of Burkina Faso to protect himself instead of using it for his people.
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traore and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
And so it begins. They first tarnish your name. They say that you're misusing your resources. Mind you, this is Burkina Faso's resource, and Ibrahim Traore is the leader of Burkina Faso at the moment. So as the leader, he's the one that is going to dictate how that gold or how that resource is going to be used. But guess what? The United States want to pick and choose who can run Burkina Faso, who can use the resources, the same thing they did in Libya. And look at Libya right now, and look at what they were able to do to Libya. So now when they're trying to repeat history, guess what the people of Burkina Faso and Africans as a whole are saying? We're saying no, it's not going to happen. History is not going to repeat itself because we will not allow it.
Welcome back to the African Streamline. I am Atamba Haiti. I'm a very happy man because you're watching me, because you took your time to tune in, because you took your time to come here and you had to make this your stopover today. I really like it, and I appreciate it. And I tell you every day, you're the greatest people that I know, the people I love so much. I salute you wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, Louis Farrakhan has a story for us. Louis Farrakhan has a message for Africans, for black people all over the world, from diaspora, from Kenya, from Uganda, from Tanzania, from the Caribbean. Louis Farrakhan has a message for us, and this message, we better listen to it, because it's a message that belongs to us, and it's a message that we have to listen to it. We better listen to it, yeah? Because I think Africa needs to change. And black people needs to no longer take the threat, needs to no longer entertain the white supremacist. We have to say no to it. We have to stop it from happening. And we can only stop it from happening if we as black people also decide to stop it from happening. If we stop entertaining the bullshit that is going on, that's the only way we can stop it. Take your time. Listen to Louis Farrakhan. Then I'll come back and give my sentiments later on.
That there is no king, no ruler, no prophet who enjoys 100% the love of his people. That has never happened in these 6,000 years, and it certainly is not so in America, and it was not so in Libya. I never lived in Libya, so I don't know Libya like the Libyans know Libya. But I know something of the good of Muammar Gaddafi that made me to love him as a brother and to feel a great sense of loss at his assassination. Before I say to the public some of the things that Brother Gaddafi did that can be proved at no limit of time, I'd like to read to the public Brother Gaddafi's last will and testament that came out sometime yesterday. As you know, Brother Muammar Gaddafi was offered asylum in other countries. He refused to leave Libya. And as you know, he said he would be martyred in Libya. This is where he lived, this is where he would fight, and this is where he would die. So I'd like to read this will, and I want you to listen carefully to his words. He said, "This is my will. I, Muammar bin Mudabir bin Muhammad bin Abdussalam bin Humaid bin Abu Manya bin Humaid bin Nail al-Fusi Gaddafi, do swear that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger, peace be upon him. I pledge that I will die as a Muslim." This was written on the 17th of October. He said, "Should I be killed, I would like to be buried according to Muslim rituals in the clothes I was wearing at the time of my death, but with my body unwashed in the cemetery of Sirte next to my family and relatives. I would like that my family, especially the women and children, to be treated well after my death. The Libyan people should protect its identity, achievements, history, and the honorable image of its ancestors and heroes. The Libyan people should not relinquish the sacrifices of the free and best people. I call on my supporters to continue the resistance and fight any foreign aggressor against Libya today, tomorrow, and always. Let the free people of the world know that I could have sold out our cause in return for a secure and stable personal life. I received many offers to this effect, but chose to be at the vanguard of the confrontation as a badge of duty and honor. even if we do not win immediately, we will provide a lesson to future generations that choosing to protect the nation is an honor, and selling it out is the greatest betrayal that history will forever remember, however they try to portray this. This was the end of his will. He was killed in a military uniform. He wanted to be buried in the khaki clothes that he was wearing. And of course, you heard the news that they took his body out in the middle of the night. He and his son, Mutasim, who we have in a picture meeting with Hillary Clinton a year and a half ago and shaking hands with Secretary of State Clinton, which should show the world that shaking hands with your enemy and receiving a pat on the back from your enemy should never lull you to sleep that the enemy has changed. The enemy is the enemy. And when you fall asleep on that knowledge, that is when the enemy will take us out. The betrayals of his inner circle. Don't think that that is overseas. That is in our own house. And we today need to watch for those close around for signs of betrayal. Because it is written in the scriptures of the Bible that in the last days perilous times will come. And betrayal will be one of the marks of the end of the world, because people will feel that they'll be safer betraying a good cause, a just cause, to save their lives. Gaddafi died in honor, fighting for the Libya that he believed in. They would never have won if NATO was not bombing day in and day out. Brother Ali Baghdadi, that is a writer and a great Arab writer, said they bombed Libya back to the Stone Age. We were in Libya. We saw Libya being built from the ground up. We witnessed what this man did for the Libyan people. And for NATO to have bombed it like this, watch for Halliburton, watch for Bechtel, watch for the vultures of London, England, and France, and others trying to rebuild the infrastructure that they purposely destroyed, which is against international law. You went for humanitarian purposes, yet 50,000 Libyans lie dead because the West wanted access to the wealth of Libya. Now let me tell you what this man did. Did he kill people? Well, hell, did our president kill people? Talk back to me. Yes. You have made your president an assassin. That the only value that he has now is that he was responsible for the death of Osama bin Laden. He was captured without a weapon. He should have been brought to America, put on trial for the American people to see this man. But he was executed, so you will never know the real truth. Then Alaki, an American citizen who is against America's policies, a drone took him out and then came back later and killed his son. Now Muammar Gaddafi and his sons lie dead. Saddam Hussein and his sons lie dead. Well, what about your sons? They're dying in Iraq on the basis of a lie. They're dying in Afghanistan on the basis of a lie. And now drones are in Pakistan, drones in Somalia, drones in Yemen. When will it stop? America, do you think that you can get away with this? If it's time for another commercial, then you go on and take the commercial. I'm just warming up.
All right. Thank you, Brother Minister. Brother Minister, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is in our studio. Stay with us.
You're watching The Media Connection, and we are joining WVON talk show host Cliff Kelly as he talks to Minister Louis Farrakhan about the killing of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi.
It wasn't any money that he loaned to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or that he loaned to the Nation of Islam and forgave for $5 million that he loaned us, for you to think that I am that kind of prostitute, that I would give myself to any man for money. It's the principle that made me his brother. Now look at what this man did. After nationalizing the oil, he used the oil revenue to benefit the Libyan people, building schools, infrastructure, universities, hospitals. He raised the literacy rate from 20% when he became the leader, and at the time of his assassination, it is 83%. Libya has one of the finest healthcare systems in the third world. All people have access to doctors, hospitals, clinics, and medicines free of charge. If a Libyan needs surgery that is unavailable in Libya, funding is provided for the surgery to be carried out overseas. He raised the life expectancy of the Libyan people from 44 years, and now at the time of his assassination, 75 years of age. Basic food items were subsidized and electricity was made available throughout the country. Brother Muammar Gaddafi has set up huge irrigation projects which were established in order to support a drive toward agricultural development and food self-sufficiency. He spent $33 billion on the man-made river, where his engineers brought water up out of the desert, and now pipelines ran from Benghazi and Tobruk almost to the door of Tunisia. Any Libyan who wanted to become a farmer was and still is given free use of land, a house, farm equipment, livestock, and seed. Brother Muammar Gaddafi vowed that his own parents, who lived in a tent in the desert, would not be housed until every Libyan was housed. He fulfilled that promise. Under the revolutionary leadership of Muammar Gaddafi, Libya has now attained the highest standard of living in Africa. Money from Libya's oil revenue is directly deposited into the bank account of every Libyan. Women have full access to education, employment, and he has enabled women to serve in the armed forces. And this is most important. Gaddafi was the first and the only leader in the Arab world to formally apologize for the Arab role in the trade in captured Africans. Gaddafi acknowledged that the black Africans were the true owners of Libya and proclaimed in his Green Book, quote, "The black race shall prevail throughout the world. Now, Brother Gaddafi took oil money and started moving the Organization of African Unity toward the African Union with a goal toward uniting 53, now 54 nations in Africa to the United States of Africa. Whenever we called Africa, our call had to go through Europe. And over $500 million went to Europe. But Gaddafi put up 400 million, and the rest of Africa put up 100 million and put up an African satellite. Now you can call directly to Africa from anywhere in the world without going through Europe. He asked the African nations to stop sending their raw materials to Europe to be made into products and then sent back to Africa to be paid for in an exorbitant price range. He wanted the Africans to take their raw materials and make them into products and then sell their products on the world market. This is the man that was assassinated, and I'll close this point. The minute he wanted Africa united, America, Britain, France, Germany, Europe was against it. So they set up NEPAD, a new economic development pact. Gaddafi was against it. Sarkozy came up with another plan to take all the North African nations that are Arab and unite them with the nations of Southern Europe. Gaddafi rejected that. America wanted to set up on the African continent African as a launching pad for the recolonization of Africa. Gaddafi was against that. I read an article by the Jewish man from a Zionist that was the former assistant to Rumsfeld. I can't call his name. Who? Pearl? No, not Pearl. Wolfowitz.
Wolfowitz, yeah.
Wolfowitz.
Hold your point, Minister. We got to go to a top of the hour break. That's the kind of information that I wanted you to give us.
You're watching The Media Connection, and now we're going to hear some candid words from Minister Louis Farrakhan as he speaks to the media and their role in exposing what he believes is the truth that's not being told. Let's join Cliff Kelly and Minister Louis Farrakhan.
This is a hell of a betrayal of the American people when you will not tell them the truth because you're afraid that if you tell the truth, your bosses will take your job from you. That's a hell of a thing. You don't have a democracy when you don't have a free press. You're all slaves, and you love it. So you deserve what you get, the erosion of your democracy. You'll soon be the laughing stock of the world. It's a damn shame. That's why the children are occupying space in New York, in Boston, in Washington, in Chicago, in San Francisco, and other cities. Why? Because they're not looking to you as a source of information for them. Look how long it took you all to talk about what was going on in New York. It took you 2 weeks because the same people that controlled the banks controlled the media. You all know it, but you're afraid to say it. But God put it on Farrakhan to say it for you. And maybe one day you'll get some courage to stand up and give America free media, a real free fourth estate. But right now, you ain't even worth the time of day. You need somebody to tell the truth.
You know what normally happens to Africans, what normally happens to black people, is that black people have already been placed at a certain in a certain circle. Like black people and Africans have already been placed in a certain circle, in a certain plate, where everything that we do is being operated at a certain plate. Okay, we're just there, and then people plan on how they're going to lead us. People plan on how we are going to live, on how we are going even to breathe. People plan on how we are going to survive. That is what happens. That is what normally happens every time, every day. Okay? And it's high time we should now be able to understand, read all the moves, be careful, and take note of everything that is happening. Okay? The same tricks should never be should never be applied on us anymore. The same tricks we've been experiencing, that have been being applied all this time, should not be applied to us anymore. We need to stand firm, stand our ground, and say, you know what, this is something we do not want. Now, Louis Farrakhan has really come out clear, and he has spoken about what happened to Muammar Gaddafi. Many times he has been talking about this, and today and now I think we should take these his speeches and learn something from it. You see, Louis Farrakhan really talks about the continent of Africa and the black people at large. He really fights for the black people, for the rights of the black people, and he does not fear anything. He speaks boldly, he speaks fearlessly, as a man who understands his rights, and as a man who can no longer take, the whatever is these things that is being done to us as people, as black people all over. Okay, Louis Farrakhan is like sounding a warning. This is like sounding a warning to the people of Africa. This is like sounding a warning to our greatest leader who are rising up. It's like sounding a warning to Capt.Ibrahim Traore, because Louis Farrakhan can sit down and explain everything from 0 to 100 that happened to Muammar Gaddafi. And it is the same things that has been happening all over time and again. If you go back and look to our greatest leaders who have been there before time, you'll realize that the same tricks, the same ways that were used to eliminate them is the same. There's no difference. That's why we call them the old tricks. And these old tricks have been succeeding all the times. But now, by listening to this speech from Louis Farrakhan, I think we should learn from it, and we should really take something from it. We should now know a time has come when we don't need to actually continue accepting these people taking advantage of us or doing whatever they want to do to us, because it's enough, and it's enough. Africans, we are people who really need to change how we are doing things, and we really need to change how we see things. Because how we see things should really make us understand that we are operating at a time when we can't be carried as kids, we can't be humiliated, we can't be intimidated anymore. Like, we need to understand who we really are and what are we supposed to do. Okay, we shouldn't allow things like this to happen. Whenever we see like this way that we are being taken, it's a deceivable way. We should get out of it. And I think, again, this work of actually protecting our leaders belongs to us, black people. Nobody's coming to do that work for us. Because as much as we want them to be, as much as we want these leaders to actually, we want them to stand firm, we want them to continue fighting for us, we also need to be at the first position, at the leading the road, to be able, we are protecting them. Because it has happened many times when black people were even used to kill black people, where they were used to eliminate black, because a white man will never come to Africa to come and destabilize our economy, or destabilize everything in Africa. They will always operate from abroad. But why are they operating from abroad? They're operating from abroad because they don't want to be seen as the people who are actually messing up and interfering with our issues. Okay, so what do? They choose to actually operate from abroad. So by them operating from abroad and not showing their faces in the ground, they're using black people. It's black leaders who sell us. It's black leaders who actually sell our properties and our resources. It's black leaders who allow our youths to go through shit. It's black leaders who allow us to suffer and cry. It's black people who can see their great leader being taken out and they're keeping quiet. It's black people. It's black people who will not stand up and go to the roads and demonstrate and protest because they are seeing things are not going well. It's black people. It's not white people who will come and take a gun and shoot our leaders. No, it's a black person who will be used. They will take a gun and assassinate a leader that is coming from Africa. It's black people. It's black people who will keep quiet when things are not happening in the right way and we can't say anything about it. We can talk about it. We can speak about it. It is we black people. And therefore, we black people are the same people who are supposed to stand up and say, we will not sell out our people. We black politicians and black leaders are the same people who will stand up and say, we cannot accept to be used, we cannot accept to be puppets. It is we black people who will stand up and say, you know what, we are not going to be used to assassinate our greatest leaders and our big leaders. It is we black people. Therefore, these tricks should never be applied. If we want really our countries and our continent to be to be reformed, we really need to stand up and say no to it. We can't allow it to happen. We can't allow it to continue happening. We have to stand up and say no to it. We black people. Because it is we black. Nobody will come and do that for us. Nobody will come and stand and do this thing for us. It is we who are supposed to do it for our own selves. Okay, so after listening to Louis Farrakhan, tell me what you think in the comment section about that issue. I'll do my best to make sure I read the comments and give a response where possible. If it's your first time to be here, subscription button, just press it. That is the best thing to do right now, and I really love it. For the turning subscribers, I salute you. God bless.